Hi everyone, welcome. If you're already reclined and comfy, you can stay where you are. Mm, Today's class is going to have a lot of similarities to last week, and so the goal is going to be to find sweetness and fluidity and ease in the body. And today we're celebrating Lakshmi, one of the Hindu goddesses. She is the representation of spiritual and material wealth and abundance. And so she will be a theme throughout our class today. So with that, we can begin. So if you haven't already reclined, take a moment to support yourself with a couple of pillows and blankets with the head elevated above the hips. Place the soles of the feet flat on the ground, any distance from the hips that feels spacious, and the joints of ankles, knees, and pelvis. And just start to observe your natural breath flow. As you observe the breath, try to feel the front, sides, and back of the body. Your whole body expanding as you inhale and softening as you exhale. As you become more aware of your body, you might notice sensations in your neck, in your shoulders, in your hips. Feel free to wiggle around to release any tension. Allow the back of the neck to lengthen. Whenever you discover a sensation in the body, it's information, so you can use it to become more supported, more relaxed, all while observing the breath. And let the breath slow down. And try to let the slowing down be really natural and easeful. Almost as if the breath wants to slow and you're just allowing it to happen. As the breath slows, become aware of the natural spaces between the breath after each inhale, after each exhale. And as you rest in each pause, notice any sense of momentary stillness, spaciousness, notice the possibility of releasing all thoughts in that moment. All tension in the body. And even any energetic limitations. So much can be possible in those simple pauses. And try to keep one foot in the door, so to speak, as the next inhale comes in or the next exhale goes out. And it's as if the pauses between the breath, these vast, spacious openings, are actually continual. They're always there. The breath just masks them for a moment. And so if your awareness is expanded beyond the breath, you can always feel that possibility of stillness and spaciousness. And we'll just take a few more breaths like this. Continuing to observe the breath, just gently start to graze the fingers along the floor to the left and right. And as you do that, notice any sensations in the chest and stop when it feels like you're getting enough opening across the heart, and just go back down. And try to take a few of these half snow angels with the arms, just starting to awaken the connection between the arms and the chest, and the arms and the back body. Notice how the circling of the arms affects the sensation beyond them, into the shoulders, into the pec muscles, into the muscles around the shoulder blade. Maybe even all the way up into the neck, or all the way down into the core. The next time the hands reach forward and down at a nice relaxed position, step the feet just a little bit wider and gently start to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Notice the sensations in the feet as the weight shifts. Notice the stability in the ankles as you roll from inside to outside. And bring your awareness to your knees. If you go a little too far with this movement, you might feel a lot of sensation in the knees, which is often pressure on the ligaments, which isn't actually a great thing. And so lessen the movement until you don't feel the knees. That's a way of finding your equal balance in the knees. And then from this smaller windshield wiper, bring your awareness down to the hip sockets. Just noticing the rotation of the thigh bone and the hip socket. And it doesn't need to be a lot, right? You don't need to move the thighs very much in order to feel and have sensation. So just start small and enjoy that little feedback in hip sockets and the muscles around the back of the hips. And then point the knees up to center. Lift the legs, grab behind the legs, and gently press the feet forward, guiding yourself up to seated. Cross the legs, and if this is not a comfortable way to sit, you can scooch back onto the edge of your prop so that you've got support underneath your seat. We'll be doing some interoception, so waking up our inner sensation even more. If you're playing music with us today, you can hit play on the first song and then just make sure it's on repeat. And so, once you found your way to your seat, close the eyes and notice the sensation of having to support your head now. It was supported for you before, but with more things awake and aware, notice if there's any sense of lightness or ease in the body. Try to continue to witness the three-dimensional expansion of the breath. And then just gently start to drop the head and roll and glide the chin from side to side. And instead of reaching for a stretch in the neck, challenge yourself to move as little as possible so that you have to focus more to really feel what's happening in the body. So little tiny movements at first, just noticing the muscles on the sides and the back of the neck. Allow the movement to get a little bit larger, but let the shoulders start to follow the head. So there's not so much a sense of pulling, but rather everything gliding and flowing together. And this is your own adventure, so you can always start to go off and discover things on your own. I'll continue to guide for anyone that finds that helpful. And so as the head rocks to one side and that far shoulder comes to, start to feel the connections down into the side body, the side of the core, the oblique muscles. Gently stretch in a lateral side bend. As the side body stretches, you might even feel sensations down into the hip socket and beyond, around the back of the hip, the side of the thigh, the front of the thigh. And even though all the movements originating in the head and the torso, start to notice that gentle shifting that's occurring in the pelvis and the legs. And the thigh bone might even subtly internally rotate as you lean away. The knee might lift a little. You don't have to make it happen. The body wants to support you. Hi Octavia, welcome. And then allow the arms to start to be a natural extension of what the body's doing. So one arm at a time can start to follow the spine. Feel free to make gentle lassoing motions with the arms so that you can explore the scapula as the whole body continues to circle. And at any point, give yourself permission to free your legs. One or both can switch arms. And anything is fair game here. The only requirement is that you actually feel what the body is doing. Give yourself permission to roll down to the floor or change positions or not. If that feels like, well, what would I do? Then don't do it. The body will tell you what to do. And we'll just take one more moment here. So if you did anything asymmetrical, can extend the other leg or play with the other arm. And then make your way back to that restorative position that we started in. And if you're just joining, this will work just fine, just straight on the back. So if you don't have a prop, it's okay. You can just recline on your back. But if you've got your ramp, you might as well use it. Imagine you're in a tabletop position. Plant your hands on the ceiling and then hover the shins. And with the hands anchored, just slowly lower the knees from side to side. It does take some core. Actually, let's lower our feet. This will feel better. Keep the feet on the ground, but then lower the knees from side to side. And try to notice the pathway from the top knee to the top armpit without any strain. When we actually do this with our hands on the ground, it takes quite a bit of core, right? And so we just want to notice that pathway of being able to support our pelvis and our knees all the way from the shoulders down through the core cylinder. It's easiest to learn when we don't have to work against gravity. And if you'd like to try it with the knees up, you're welcome to, but we are just warming up, and so depending on what your day's been like, you may not feel ready for that. So don't do it. And then one last time, grab behind the knees, roll up, and this time we'll place our props off to the side because we're going to be rolling all around and we don't want them to get in the way. And we'll all meet on our bellies with the right arm reaching towards the screen, forehead to hands, and just pause for a moment. Be aware of the breath, the front, the sides, the back of the lungs. And then extend the left arm, right hand underneath shoulder. Gently press onto the left side. Bend the knees a little bit so that it's easy to balance here. And keep the heels in line with the hips. Reach the right foot out and slowly point the right toe down as far as away from you as is comfortable. And then try to point the toe down as close to you as is comfortable without any strain. And then play between those 2 points. And try to move as smoothly as possible. If you notice you're really bringing a lot of force and effort, shorten the distance, right? Don't worry about maxing it out. Try to find the space where you can do it comfortably with being excited to have muscles. The next time the foot reaches up close to you, reach the hands towards me, stacking the palms. Draw a big rainbow with the right arm, letting the right shoulder anchor. And then hug inner thighs together so the right leg stays on top. And then Just draw some nice big circles with the knees, massaging back of the hips, side of the hips, especially that right hip. That did some really nice work. And then grab behind the thighs, extend the legs, and press them forward to guide yourself up for a moment. The bottom foot can touch the earth, and just reach the hands up any amount, just starting to challenge the core. And then uncross the legs, and hopefully you don't have a giant table next to you like I do. We'll play with a little bit of momentum. So take a moment to turn away from me, planting the hands to the right. Let the knees point to the right. Imagine you're winding up and storing energy. And then slowly push down into the hands. Let the whole body swivel all the way to table onto the mat. And then go back the way you came and try it again. So just take a few rounds to wind up, twisting to the right, and then push down to spring all the way to the left, rolling to table. Nice. Do it one last time with as much ease as is possible. And then when you make it to table, remember that exercise that we did on our back. Hover the knees, and then just gently point the knees to the right, knees to the left. And as they swivel, try to feel that same connection up into the armpits. Let the movement come from the whole torso pivoting, and less so from just the hips turning. And then drop the knees to center. Gently press hips back to heels, keeping the toes tucked. And push down into the legs, guiding hips forward, sliding hands back, slowly rising up into a high kneel. And then repeat that motion. So bow forward, allow the hips to sink towards the heels. Sweep the hands back, guide the hips forward. And take a few more on your own, just noticing how your core naturally engages to support you here without any overexertion. As we float through all of our poses today, this is going to be our goal, for our muscles to turn on to support us without the mind having to micromanage anything. And the next time you float up, step the left leg forward and repeat that same action. So bow forward, rounding, grazing the hands back, and then slowly rise back up. And be aware of the front foot and the back knee. And if at any time the legs want to reposition, give yourself permission. Maybe walking the left foot over to the left, sliding the left foot forward, whatever helps the knee and pelvis feel as supported as possible. And the next time you rise up, I will explain this in a moment because I forgot to do it in the beginning. Lift your right fingertips up towards the sky and left hand down. And then slowly push down into the right knee and let the whole right side body start to open. And then come back to that center position where the right hand is up and the left hand is down. And then press down into the right knee, letting the whole right side body unfurl to the right. And then slowly come back to that centered position. Last one. And this time, as you rainbow the arms up and over to the right, plant the right hand to the right of the right knee, hover the right knee, and swivel the feet to the right in Prasarita Padottanasana. Release both hands down and start to circle the weight on the feet. As you circle the weight on the feet, notice how different parts of the legs come alive. Bend the knees really deeply here. Yeah. And then notice the sensations in the front of the legs, the sides, the back, the other side. As the weight circles, try Try to feel what part of the leg supports you a little bit more. And then allow your body to come to stillness when you have equal support in the front, back, and sides of the legs. Push down into the feet to slowly, slowly rise up, just like we did before. As the hips press forward, allow the hands to reach back. Little back bend, arms naturally float up. And then bend the right knee, shift the weight into the right foot, and slowly guide the left foot up and over into dancing Shiva. And notice the angle of the left foot, right? This is the natural angle that's comfortable for the hip. So as you go into the next movement, slowly keep the foot at that angle and just step it down and let the back toes turn out any amount that is comfortable on the back knee. Same mudra with the hands, right fingertips up, left fingertips down. As you bend the left knee, slowly reach the right hand up and over. And then press into the left foot, straightening the body, pivot the feet to the right, drop the hands. We're just going to do it one time this first round, but we'll have an opportunity to explore that several more times. Step the left foot onto the mat if it's not, and sweep the arms forward, reach the hips back into chair pose. Melt the belly over the thighs, plant the hands, and step back to plank. Pause and plank for a moment and try to do a little less. What's the minimal effort you can exert here and still feel supported? And then drop the knees, and similar to the transition that we played with before, keep the left knee and left hand anchored. As you bring the left hip over to the left, let the right hand and right knee lift so that you can roll onto the hips, and then keep rolling over to the right. Nice, easy twist to the right in Bharadvajasana. You guys are moving so fluidly. Nice. And then slowly start to go back the way you came. So left hand, left knee anchor, and then right hand, right knee hover back to that table. Try that again. So left knee, left hand down, roll over the hip all the way to the right. Keep rolling into Bharadvajasana. And this time, as you unroll to table, notice the momentum of the body wants to allow the knees to pivot to the left, just like we practiced before. Last one, left knee down, left hand down, roll to the right all the way to Bharadvajasana. Option to lift the left hand, if that feels good. And then slowly unroll to the left and let the knees pivot to the left. And then drop the knees to center. Step the feet back. And slowly lower one elbow at a time to forearm plank. You can always drop the knees for extra support here. In forearm plank, start to draw some little circles with the shoulders around the elbows. And so similar to our experiment with the feet, as the shoulders circle, yay, Dana, I'm so glad you made it. As the shoulders circle, you might notice a little more awakening in the front of the shoulder, the side of the shoulder, the back of the shoulder. Go the opposite direction. Just let those muscles come aboard to help you today. As more wakes up, you might notice like, oh, hey, I don't feel supported. Give yourself permission to walk the elbows a little wider. Change the angle of the hands. And then come to center, slowly extend the legs, melt the body down, stack palms, elbows wide, forehead to hands, and just pause. Observe the breath for a couple of rounds. And then place the hands underneath the shoulders, press the hips back to the heels, and turn to face me for a moment because I forgot to tell you about our very special mudra. I was waiting for Dana to come. I didn't want her to miss out. So the mudra that we were using is Lakshmi's mudra. And one hand points up. It's like this astral connection. Imagine connection to all the energy of the entire universe. And then one hand points down, and this is how she bestows blessings onto the manifest world, including all of us. And so each time we do this in class, and it'll flip because it's yoga, so we're going to be symmetrical. Each time we do this, imagine you're just connecting to a higher form of energy, and you're letting it not only absorb into you, but also flow through you. And so we'll be playing with this throughout class. And each time, just pause and take a moment and feel your heart. Feel that higher, more refined energy starting to flow through. Okay, now back to our regularly scheduled program. So turn to the right and recline onto your belly and stack your hands, forehead to hands, and pause. Observe breath. And then extend the right arm, left hand underneath left shoulder. Gently press into the hand to roll onto the side. Bend the knees, drawing heels in line with hips. And then reach the left foot out, pointing the toe as far away from you as you can. Touch it down like you're dipping it in a pool of water. And then bend the knee and try to touch the toe as close to you as is comfortable on the left hip. And play between those two spaces, just warming through the glute muscles. If you feel inspired, you can touch the toe down more places, but we're just trying to explore our active range of motion. And the next time the toe comes up and close to you, reach both hands towards me. Draw a big rainbow with the left arm, rooting left shoulder down, letting the legs follow. Squeeze inner thighs together so the left leg is on top, and start to draw your circles. Notice the massaging through that hip that was just working so hard. And also notice the rotation of the torso, right? So the shoulders are anchored and the hips slowly pivot from side to side. You might feel that activation from right hip to right armpit, left hip to left armpit. This is really going to help us with all of our swiveling that we're playing with, from table to reverse table and all those fun things. Bring the legs to center, grab behind them, extend them and kick them forward to rise up. Place the sole of the bottom foot down and just reach the arms up for a moment, and then uncross the legs. Let the knees fall over to the left. Hands follow, so you're twisting away to the left. And then slowly start to reach arms up and over to the right, rolling all the way into table. And then do that a couple times. Yeah, at any time in class, if you already know the movement, just ignore me and play with as much awareness as is possible. The next time you roll into table, hover the knees and start to pivot them from side to side. Again, let this movement come from the rotation of the entire spine. And make sure you don't feel too much at one point, like the low back or the hips, but rather disperse through your whole core. And then back at center, drop knees, keep toes tucked, press hips to heels, pause. Let a thought melt out of your forehead here. Slowly press hips forward as the hands drag back, letting the spine stack one vertebra at a time, and then open the heart and allow the hands to reach up. Take 3 of these on your own, slow motion, as fluidly as possible. And the next time you float up, right leg in front, and then bow forward, same exact action, but now we've just got the right leg in front. And notice here, any sensations in your ankle and knee might be telling you they don't feel stable. So try walking the foot over to the right, further away, closer in, until those sensations just melt into a smooth, buttery goodness. And the next time you rise up, left fingertips up, astral connection, right fingertips down, letting it flow. Pause. Breathe to the heart. You can even chant the Om sound silently to yourself if you want. And then push down into the left knee. Reach the left arm up and over. Big side bend. And then back to center. And just take a few of these flowing side bends from our Lakshmi mudra up and over to the left. The next time you reach up and over to the left, reach both hands back over to the right, planting left hand to the floor. Lift the left knee, pivot the feet to the left, release the right hand down, and bend the knees really generously. Slowly start to draw your circles in your feet, shifting the weight from heels to the left side, to the balls of the feet to the right side. And as you do that, try to feel what happens in the legs as the weight shifts. And if you can't feel it, move slower and move less. And then bring the weight to center. Press down into the feet, slowly rising up as the hips press forward. Let the spine stack and the arms float back. Heart opens at the end. And then the hands just float up. Bring hands down to heart center. And then let them float to a T. Bend the knee. Shift the weight to the left. And slowly glide the right leg over and then up into our dancing Shiva pose. And let's add those Lakshmi hands in. So right hand down, left hand up. So we'll call this dancing Lakshmi today. And then look at the angle of your right toes. Step the right foot down in that same direction. Let the left toes turn out any amount, and then gently bend into the right knee, letting that astral hand connect to the cosmos. Slowly push into the right leg, straightening the right leg, pivoting to the left. Let both hands drop. And then scoop the air up and sink the hips back into chair pose. Melt the body down onto the thighs, plant the hands, and step back to your plank pose. Pause here and notice if there's a little more sense of buoyancy, weightlessness. If there's not, release the knees, bend the elbows a little bit, see if you can relax any tension in the neck. And then let's all release our knees and lower our forearms. Elbows underneath shoulders. Fingers can point forward or slightly in, whatever's most comfortable in the hips. The hips too, but I meant the shoulders. Extend the legs back out and start with those little circles, being aware of the whole shoulder socket, drawing big circles, and then go the opposite direction. And then drop the knees down. Plant the hands underneath the shoulders. Right knee and right hand stay rooted. Slowly start to bring the right hip down towards the earth and let left hand and left knee roll up and over all the way to Barad to the left. Nice. Option to sweep that hand up. Lengthen from right hip up to the fingertips. And then slowly start to untwist all the way to the right, back to table. And then do it again. So we're twisting all the way to the left as we come off our mat. And then we twist to the right, coming back onto the mat. Option now to swivel the knees to the right. And then to center one more time. So right knee down, twist to the left. And then back to center, and feel how the momentum just carries the knees to the left. Nice. And then drop the knees, step back to your plank pose. Slowly lower the body all the way down. Stack hands, elbows wide, forehead to hands, and just let all of that sink in. We'll repeat that same sequence. We'll have some options to add on. And there will be some things that we repeat several times, and we'll try to repeat them with as little effort as possible. So we're just flowing through the sequence. Right hand underneath shoulder, left arm extends slowly, roll to the left side, bend the knees, dragging heels towards glutes. Dip your toe in the water away from you. Dip your toe in the water close to you. And play between those two distances, finding as much smoothness in the hip as possible. The next time the toe comes towards you, reach hands towards me, big rainbow with the right arm over, pinning the shoulder down. Allow the right leg to be on top. Option to undertuck the right toes, but you don't have to do that, especially if it doesn't feel good, then don't do it. And circle the knees. Allow the knee circles to be as big as is comfortable and interesting. Perhaps noticing the sensations all the way up the side body, into the armpit, into the shoulder. And then bring the knees to center, grab behind them, extend the legs, and kick the legs forward. This time keep both legs hovering for a moment. Plant the hands behind you and do the same thing, just exploring the low part of the core. So circling the knees away from you and side to side, and just noticing the muscles that are supporting you from the bottom of the core cylinder. And then uncross the legs. Let the knees drop to the right. Left hand follows, twisting to the right. Bend the elbows a little bit, imagining like you're a spring. And then start to spring the arms up and over, using momentum to roll all the way onto the mat. Keep the knees hovering this time and swivel knees from side to side. And then we've got an option. So the next time the knees swivel to the right, plant the right foot so it's perpendicular to the short edge of the mat so it feels really solid. And then play with kicking the left leg through. And then plant the right hand and go the other way. So the left foot plants and then the right foot kicks through. Left hand can lift. And try this from side to side, having a sense of the momentum carrying you over and allowing that kicking leg to be an extension of the momentum. The top arm opposes the bottom leg. So as that leg kicks, the top arm can pull in the opposite direction. Next time you kick away from me, you're balanced, and you can just pause, drop the knees, press hips back to heels. Observe the breath and observe the joints. Notice if anything didn't like that option. Check in with the low back and the hips. And then slowly stack the hips. Allow the spine to stack. Reach the arms up. Just one of these this time. Big circle, hands reach up. Step the left foot forward into the left, and then repeat that circle just one time, bowing forward, sweeping hands back and up. And then Lakshmi Mudra, right fingertips up, left fingertips down. Push down into the right knee to open up and over to the left. And then draw that big rainbow. Plant the right hand, pivot the feet, bend both knees, and slowly push down into the feet. Guide the hips forward, hands back, letting the spine unstack, circling encircling all of that energy and pull it in to the heart. Pause, hands at heart center, and then float the arms out to a T. Bend the right knee and drag the left foot over and up, dancing Shiva, and then right fingertips up, left hand down. Take a moment to memorize this movement because we're going to be repeating this a lot of times, okay? So from dancing Lakshmi, left foot steps any amount. You could try a little further forward if you want. And then bend left knee, reach right arm up and over for a cross lateral stretch. So notice this sense of reaching up and over to the left. And as you extend the left leg, notice how the body wants to close up and over to the right. Pivot the feet to the right and drop the arms. Sweep the hands forward, sink the hips back, chair pose. And so rest your arms for a moment while I give you this information. Actually straighten the legs too. We are going to be repeating that sequence all the way around. It's going to take us all the way in a circle. We're going to have to repeat it 4 more times. The good news is you're going to be repeating it with such little effort that it's going to feel really easy and really fluid. So we're not sinking deep into poses. We are just flowing as easily as possible. So now returning to chair, scoop hands forward, sink hips back. Shift the weight into the right foot. Glide the left foot forward and up, dancing Shiva. Right fingertips up, left fingertips down. Step the left foot forward, bend the left knee, big side reach to the left. And then press into the left foot, rainbow the arms to the right and pivot to the right. So your back is to me now. Sweep hands up, shift hips back, wide chair. Shift the weight into the right, glide the left foot over and up, right fingertips up, left fingertips down, dancing Lakshmi. Step the left foot any amount forward, back toes turn out, bend the front knee, reach up and over to the left, and then use that to sweep up and over to the right, turning all 10 toes and dropping the arms. Wide chair, hips back, hands forward. You're almost there. Less effort this round. Shift the weight into the right foot. Glide the left foot over and up. Right fingertips up, left fingertips down. Step the foot. Back toes turn out. Let the whole right side of the body open. And then pivot everything 90 degrees to the right, dropping the arms. A moment of neutral. And then sweep fingers up, sink hips back. Last one, shift the weight, dancing Shiva, and then set your hands, foot down and open the right side body. Let it just glide and open. And then press into the feet, windmill the arms over to the right. Let them drop. You did it. You survived. Pause here and just notice the energetic quality of the right side of your body. Notice any sense of energy being stored, any tingling. Don't worry, we'll balance it out soon. You can step the left foot on the mat if it's a little wider. Sweep hands forward, sink hips back, and then melt over the legs. Plant the hands, step back to plank. Drop your knees. Drop the forearms, and you've got 2 options here. You can keep circling like we did in the first round, or you can shift the weight into the left arm, let the right arm hover, and pivot the feet, and start to flow through forearm side planks. If you're doing that, move slowly with control and let it be an exploration of the front and the back of the shoulders. So you're noticing that control and support from all sides. And then come back to center. Drop the knees and walk the hands underneath the shoulders into table. Pause for a moment, observe. And so we're preparing for our second wind-up sequence. For the first one, we'll keep the knees down, and then after that, you'll have the option to hover the knees here. So let the left hip start to lower, right hand and knee. They draw a big arc and slowly twist to the right. Lift the left hand, feel the body lengthening and winding up to the right, and then let everything unwind to the left. Pivot the feet to the left, plant that left foot, option to kick the right foot through and pull the left hand back. And then set the right foot underneath you, and we'll do it again, either knees up or knees down. Left foot, left hand stay down, right hand and foot flip, flipping your table, and twist to the right. And then slowly untwist all the way to the kick through if your body likes it. And then come back to center, knees up or down, last one. And move slowly so you really have a sense of this spiraling through space and your core supporting the movement all the way. And the next time you kick through, you can lower the right hip down. And if you didn't kick through, you can just step the right foot through and just gently twist to the left. And then extend the left leg off to the left and twist to the right, planting your hands underneath you. Tuck the left toes under. We're going to be pressing back to down dog in slow motion. As you press into the hands, slowly allow the right leg to drag underneath you. And then plant it behind you and push into the hands to send the hips up and back, pausing for a moment in downward facing dog. And then slowly lower the knees, slowly lower the body, stack hands, elbows wide, melt the forehead. We'll just pause for a moment, and we'll just be repeating that sequence one last time. You've seen all the secrets. So just let that wisdom sink into the body and trust that your body will allow you to move through it as gracefully as possible. Extend the right arm, left hand plants and pushes you onto the right side. Bend the knees. Reach the left toes away from you and then towards you. And keep trying to find that minimal effort. Minimal effort allows more muscles to sign on to help you. It actually makes you stronger and functional. So it's not lazy. And the next time the toes come up towards you, reach both arms towards me. One hand on top of the other. Draw a big rainbow with the left hand, plant the shoulder, and slowly let the hips follow. Eagle legs, option to tuck the left foot underneath or just keep them crossed and draw your circles. And actually, I don't find that comfortable with the legs tucked, so feel free to untuck your legs too. Back to center, reach behind the legs, kick forward, and then hover for a moment, plant the hands behind you. And just explore the bottom of the core and keep noticing that connection between the hips rotating and the sensation in the armpits. Feeling how the shoulders and the pelvis are intrinsically linked via the core. And then uncross the legs. Let them drop to the left. Let the arms twist to the left. Bend the elbows a little bit, sinking towards the earth, and then spring up and over, rolling all the way to your hovering table. And we'll play with that kick through. So pivot the knees from side to side. The next time they pivot to the left, kick the left foot through and draw the right hand back. And then go the other way and plant the left foot as the right foot kicks through. So there's really a sense of stability and support in the back leg as the other leg kicks through. If it ever feels like too much, take a smaller stance. So more like table, less like down dog. And then come back to center, drop the knees, press back to Bhaktasana, toes tucked under. Push down into the shins, hips forward, hands back. Unfurl the spine, let the whole body open. And then step right foot forward and repeat that motion. So melt forward, hands sweep back, hips slowly press forward. And then melt the hands down into Lakshmi Mudra. Left fingertips up, right fingertips down. Push into the left knee, letting the whole left side body reach up and over. And then windmill the arms up and over to the left. Lift the left knee, pivot the feet, both hands down, bend both knees deeply so the whole spine can release. And try to feel weight in the heels and support in the back of the pelvis as you melt down. And then push down into the feet. Press the hips forward, slowly unfurling. Let the heart peek up and the arms follow. And draw everything down to heart center. Float the arms out to a T. Bend into the left knee and slowly start to drag the right foot over and up. Right fingertips down, left fingertips up. Pause here, memorize this because we'll be repeating it 4 more times. Step the right toes down. Give the left toes permission to turn out. Bend right knee and reach up and over to the left. And then slowly kick into the right foot. As the right leg extends, pivot the toes to the right, or to the left, and drop the arms. Sweep the arms up, sink the hips back. We'll repeat this 4 more times. Shift the weight into the left foot. Glide the right foot forward. Right fingertips down, left fingertips up. Right foot steps, reach up and over to the right. Now we're moving counterclockwise, turning all 10 toes to the left. Drop the arms. Chair, wide chair. And then drag the right leg across. Dancing Lakshmi, left fingertips up. Step the foot, bend the right knee. Crescent side lunge. And then extend the legs, reach the arms down, pause. Chair pose. Glide over. Dancing Lakshmi. Step the foot, bend the front knee, crescent side bend. And then extend the leg, twisting to the left. Last one. Chair pose. Shift the weight. Dancing Lakshmi. Step the foot, crescent side bend. And then slowly pivot the feet to the left as the left arm drops. And if you aren't perfectly square with the mat, you can adjust the feet so you're facing the short edge left side of the mat. Just pause for a moment now, feeling any new awareness on the left side of the body. And then sweep arms up, hips back, and then just melt over the legs. Plant the hands, step back to plank pose. Option to rest in devotional pose, or to take another round of forearm planks. And so you can just circle around the shoulders, or you can pivot the feet and lift one hand at a time to explore those forearm side planks. And if you're taking the side planks, push down into the grounded arm and try to feel even stability in the front and back of the shoulder, front and back and sides of the core. And then come back to center, drop the knees, walk the hands in, pause and table. We'll take the first round with our knees down. Hips will slowly lower to the right. Left hand and foot swivel around, rolling over the hips all the way to the left. Bharadvajasana, winding up to the left. And then slowly start to unwind, rolling over the hips back to table. Pivot the knees to the right, plant the right foot. Draw the right hand back and allow the left foot to kick through. Bring the left toes behind you. Return to table. Option to drop the knees or not. And we'll slowly bring right hip towards the earth as the left hand and foot pivot over, twisting to the left. Reach long with the right arm. And then slowly unfurl to the right, rolling back to table, pivoting the feet to the right. Option to kick through. And then back to center, rolling to the left. Last one, move with as much ease as is possible. And if that means skipping a movement, give yourself that liberty. We'll all meet with the left leg extended and the right knee bent. Can lower the left hip down and gently twist to the right. And then extend the right leg towards the right edge of the mat, but slowly twist the body to the left. Eventually allow the right toes to tuck underneath you. Plant the hands, bend the elbows a little bit so they're springy, and push into the hands to slowly drag the outside of that left hip across and back. Bend the knees, press into the hands to lift the hips high. Take a moment here. You can allow the backs of the legs to extend any amount, but favor your long spine. Slowly shift the weight forward so shoulders are over wrists. Drop the knees and lower the belly down for a moment. Stack hands, elbows wide, forehead to hands. Just pause and notice any sensations through the side bodies, through the core, connections from the armpit to the hip. Just letting all of that wiring sink in. Place the hands underneath the shoulders. Keep the knees down. Just gently press up to a supported plank. Hover the knees. Press the hips back to down dog. We'll add in some nice cooling movements before meditation in Shavasana. Lift the right leg and slowly allow the right knee to swing towards the right wrist. And just swivel the shin just a little bit so the heel's mostly underneath the body, setting up for pigeon with less hip opening than usual. Press the hips back, release the back knee, and walk the hands in. Push down into the legs and notice any sense of buoyancy in the pelvis and the torso. Can stay here, or you can take it a little deeper by sweeping the right fingertips forward and then up and back, twisting in to the front knee. And as you do this, just notice the sensations in the low back. And if it's ever too much, try to make your circles a little smaller, emphasizing the support in the pelvis and the sides of the core. Can pause at any moment that feels useful to you. If you're feeling quite open, you're welcome to play with bending the back knee and reaching towards the foot, but not making it happen. Just seeing what's there. And then release the foot, release the hand. Slowly lift the back leg and push into the hands, letting the right leg glide back and then unfurl. And then we'll switch legs. So now the left leg lifts high. Press into the hands and feel the connection between the hands and the left heel. And then slowly let the left knee pendulum swing towards the left wrist. Swivel the shin just a little bit. Press hips back, release the right knee down. Wag your tail a little bit, just making sure you feel supported through the pelvis. If you don't, bring the back knee in a little bit more so your hips are higher. walk the hands in, letting the spine come upright. And then option to reach left fingertips forward, up and back, just massaging through the left side of the body. So as you twist the left shoulder back, it lengthens the fascial spiral on the left side of the body, and you might really notice sensations in the side of the torso, the side of the hip, all the way down into the knee. And just like before, if you want to play with bending the back knee, adds a little quad stretch, and the goal is not to touch the foot, but if the hands just happen to be there, it is okay to just gently kick the foot into the hand to open the heart and open the quad. Make sure you can breathe. And then just gently release the back foot down and release the left hip off to the side. Slowly bring equal weight into the hips so the right toes start to turn up towards the sky, and extend the left leg off to the side in whatever size straddle is comfortable for you. We've done a lot of twisting and barrade, and we're going to use that to help us get a really nice straddle. So let's start by slowly twisting to the right. Let the knees bend. And as the body twists to the right, let the left leg just start to follow. So there's no tension in the low back. So you allow the legs to close, twist to the right, and bend the elbows, slowly melting towards the earth. And then as you start to push into the hands, letting the torso be buoyant, let the legs start to extend back into the straddle at the same time. So push yourself to center, letting the legs unfurl, and then let everything start to curl up to the left. So the legs slowly close, knees bend, elbows bend, melt over to the left. And then as the arms extend, let the legs extend at the same time, slowly untwisting through center. Once you've got the movement down, you're welcome to move at your own pace, twisting and then unfurling through center, and then letting everything release and close as you twist the other way. And just take one more to each side and really soak it up, because you've done a lot of good work today, and so this movement might feel more fluid, more therapeutic than ever. After you twist to the left next, you're balanced. We'll all meet in our straddle. And just allow the body to gently sway from side to side. If this feels intense, walk the hands behind you and give your spine the opportunity to lengthen. So you don't have to be like this, right? Just explore a little bit. And then turn to face one leg, bend the knee a little bit, and just gently drape the body over the leg. And then kick into the heel, rising up, and take that momentum to the other side. Bend the knee, drape the body over the leg. And just take a few repetitions. If you would like to hold longer, you're more than welcome to. Or you can just imagine your body like water flowing over the earth. This isn't for everyone, but if you would like to take a moment to reach forward, you can. Just make sure there's no strain in the body. And then slowly walk the hands in and take a moment at center, letting the head be buoyant. Reach behind the right leg and gently guide it in and give the leg just a little cradle. And then set the right foot down off to the side and do the same thing with the left. Just give it a little cradle. And then place the feet in front of you, a little wider than the hips, hands behind you. And then just gently let the thighs internally rotate. And it can be just a little bit because you don't want there to be any sensation in the knee when you do this. But just a little internal rotation can really go a long way. And then just pause with the knees pointed up. Taking a moment at center. And we've got a few minutes for meditation before Shavasana. And so take a moment to lovingly guide the legs in. Option to grab one of your blankets or pillows for some support. You can pause your music. And it might be hard to see, but the Lakshmi mantra is on the screen. I'll make it a little bit bigger. It's Om Shrim Mahalakshmiyai Namaha. And let's see. That's really big. And we'll just take a little bit of time to repeat this mantra. As it is a Lakshmi holiday, there's just extra blessings available. And Lakshmi energy attunes us to opening to a lot of abundance. And so before we begin, you can take a moment to do the Lakshmi mudra. Traditionally, the right fingertips are up and the left fingertips are down. And just imagine that connection to something so much bigger, so much greater than yourself. In yoga, we would call that a cosmic connection or an astral connection. And it's almost like that higher connection allows you to fill up with energy. But then the other fingertips remind you to just let things keep flowing. It's the nature of the universe and this abundance that we don't have to hold on. We can just absorb it and keep moving. And you're welcome to hold your hands like that if it's helping you. You can release your hands down to your lap as well. And we'll just spend the next few minutes chanting this mantra, soaking in these abundant vibrations. Om Shri Mahalakshmiyai Namaha. 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 Om Shrim Mahalakshmi 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 Namaha. And for the next few minutes of meditation, imagine the breath is like the nourishing vibration of the mantra. And let each breath draw into the heart. Imagine just soaking in the most nourishing nectar and letting the heart fully absorb it. And you're welcome to silently repeat the Lakshmi mantra as you breathe. You can also use another Shambhavananda mantra that you're comfortable with, like Om Namah Shivaya or Hamsa. But just let each breath be an opportunity to take in nourishment. And each out breath is an opportunity to just resonate with that vibration, most like a tuning fork, just letting all the cells, the trillions of cells of your body, just harmonize with the nectar of the mantra, the nectar of your yoga practice. And you're welcome to stay upright for as long as it's serving you. When you're ready, can make your way to resting. And as long as you've got your bolster, your cushions, you are welcome to take Shavasana on that ramp that you set up with your head a little bit higher than the hips. Whatever would be the most soothing and supportive. And at this point, you can release any sense of effort and notice how easy it might be to just rest. You can imagine the top side of your body is like the right fingertips reaching up towards the cosmos. It's just receptive and absorbing all of this fine-tuned energy. And the back side of the body is like the left hand that allows the energy to flow through so it may serve beyond just you, to your family, your community, even the whole country and world. And so as you rest here, just imagine that process of energy flowing through you, happening continuously and effortlessly. And at the end of Shavasana, I'll play a little music, and that will be your cue to start waking up or to keep resting. Shri Lakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmi Namaha. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Om Shri Lakshmi Namaha. Om Ananda Mata, Om Ananda Mata, Om Durga Kali Sundari Namaha. Om Ananda Mata, Om Ananda Mata, Om Durga Kali Sundari Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmi Namaha. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Om Shri Lakshmi Namaha. And just bring hands to your heart and imagine just taking a seat in your heart. And gently bow your head to that wise you that rests in your heart. Thank you so much for sharing this practice. Namaste. So good to see all of you. For those of you that aren't in the East Coast and it's not 9:30, when I was doing this class yesterday, with all the twisting and the momentum, I was super energized. And this is really silly, but I did like the best cartwheels of my life afterwards. If you don't do cartwheels, I don't recommend starting now. But if you do cartwheels, I do recommend seeing how all of that like rotational energy you've got stored up might carry you through some awesome cartwheeling. So I'll leave you with that. Have an incredible week. Jai Lakshmi. I can stick around if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, see you soon. Love and aloha.